Started. So this is our Thursday morning stretch session. I generally use, at least at some point during this session, a strap and a block. Any strap at all will do. I'm going to use this one today. Oops. Pulled out more I bargained for. And I've got a block handy. I've also got my prop that I use as my other arm around. So we're going to start by just checking in with our bodies and seeing how everything's feeling. Just let your feet come into the floor. We're standing up today. And take the head. We're going to do a little pattern with the head. I'm going to drop it forward. Take the ear to the side. Look up towards the ceiling. Take it over to the side. Take it down through the front. Chin over to the side. Up towards the ceiling. And to the other side. 2 more times in this direction. Down. Through, up and across, down, through, up and across. Now we're going to take it down again and then reverse it going the other way. Just forgot to mute you guys, sorry. So down, through, over and across. And one more time. Great. Once you bring your head back to the center, I want you to feel your chin draw in and the back of the neck lengthen. And with this little sense of chin tucking, see if you can turn your chin towards one shoulder, keep the shoulders heavy, and then back to the center. And then over to the other shoulder, back to the center, over, and just one more. Nice. Scoop the shoulders forward, roll them back 1. Let the knees be soft. Your body can follow this movement. 2 more. And then forward. Scoop them up and over. And let that ripple through the neck. 3. And 4. Hands on the hips. I'm going to tuck the pelvis forward, then shift it back. Try and keep your ribs closed. So it's just the pelvis moving forward from underneath the belly button and the tailbone pulling back. And let's take that tuck and tip into a big circle. Feeling the sides of the waist, pull the hips up. And then the pubic bone will connect forward. Other side of the hip, tailbone lengthens back. And going the other way. Keeping those ribs contained. And then with those knees wide and pointing out towards the third toes, arch the back, take a slow roll just halfway down, curl the ribs in, bring it all the way up. We lift the chest at the top, sink the hips down, sinking into the knees, arch, 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 then curl the ribs in, roll up. So the elbows bend and the shoulders slide back as we arch forward. We're going to press to straight arms to assist the curl and roll up. Can we make this a bit deeper and a bit bigger now? 2 more. Open the chest as we roll down. Close the chest as we come up. And this is the last one. Take the hands all the way to the floor. See if you can lengthen the spine. I'm going to bend into the knees. Sink the hips really low. And then gently start to stretch the legs, looking back through them. Bending into the knees, the hips sink low. And we start to stretch out the legs, looking back. Don't overforce the hamstrings. We're just gently warming them up, really evenly pressing down through 4 corners of the feet. And last one there, rolling all the way up to stand. I'm going to use the wall to assist me with this next exercise. If you have great balance, you don't need one, or you can use a chair, up to you. So we're going to take the outside knee up and over, circling it 5 times. Noticing any pops or clicks, I've got dozens of them. And then circling it back the other way. Again, trying to keep our hips level. The same distance between the ribs and the hips on both sides. And then coming into a figure 8. So the knee comes in and out, the heel comes up. Heel comes up as the knee travels across, and then the knee lifts up to bring us back to the start position. 1 more of these. Nice. So switch feet. I'm going to turn around. Knees circling up and over. Nice. And then the other way. Making sure we're creating a full circle with that knee. And then our figure eight. One more. 2 and 1. Cool. So now we're going to step the feet so they're parallel and they're directly underneath the hips. My knees are really soft here, spiraling out to the third toe. My tailbone is lengthening back, belly is sweeping in, and hands are on the hips with the shoulders rolling back. I'm going to feel my tailbone rise as my chest descends, keeping the back long and flat. And just take that to where you can absolutely be certain that your spine is long and straight. And then we're going to gently squeeze into the underbum to stand all the way back up. So we're practicing our hinge, keeping the knees soft, careful not to extend or bend the legs more. We want to keep the legs exactly as they are. We're just focusing on moving from the sit bones, moving from the tailbone forward and then back. Let's extend the arms now and roll the thumbs back so they point behind us and the palms are turning almost to the ceiling. Keeping the ribs contained, keeping the belly lifted. Start to fold from the hip creases forward, long spine. And then all the way up. Good. Careful not to break at the neck. So you want to keep the chin tucked in and the neck really long. And let's start to see if we can shift forward of the hip bone rather than allowing the hips to move back. 2 more here. So moving forward and up. Last one. Great. All right, let's get a little bit of balance work happening. So if you want to use the wall, you can. I'm going to try not to use the wall and start with my hands on my hips. My inside foot is really grounded. I'm going to lift my outside knee up and then start to extend it all the way back. So my belly's sweeping in until that leg is fully extended. Flex the foot. Slowly lower it down towards the ground. You can point the toe as you lift it and bend the knee. So we're going to extend the leg back. This knee is bending as I move, cool, because it needs to counter rotate. Flex, sweep it through, lift and bend, point and extend. Flex as it comes down and the chest comes up. Just 2 more. Trying to keep a nice straight back. Lifting it all the way up and then step the foot down on the ground. You can shake your other leg out. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to reverse it now. So this time we were going back and swinging the leg forward. This time we're going to start with the leg as high as we can in front of us with the foot flex, really strong and as straight as you can. We're going to sweep it all the way back into a straight line here. Then bring the heel up to the bum and lift the knee through. Extend all the way to flex foot. Take it down towards the floor, all the way back into a straight line. Point the toe, keep the bum, bring the knee all the way through to stand. Flex the foot, take it down, straight line, then point as the heel comes to the bum. Good, we got 2 more. Keep breathing, keep folding at the hip, really focus on the chest open and shoulders back, but ribs closed and belly strong. Once that leg extends fully in front of you, we're going to pulse the toes up towards the ceiling for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that leg is done. You can shake the foot out. Good, let's do the other side. I'm going to turn around. Okay, so we're going to start by lifting the knee. Point the toe, extend the leg, take it all the way back. Flex the foot, take it down towards the floor. And am I going the wrong way this time? Hang on a sec. No, this is right. Bend the knee, pick it up, push back all the way to a straight line. Flex the foot, take it down towards the floor, and then pick the knee up. Extend back into the straight line. You can take the arms by the sides if it feels good for you. All the way up. Pushing back, flex and drop, point and lift. Last one. Now we're going to keep that leg lifted as high as it can with the foot flex, really energize the heel, lower it down towards the floor, find that straight long line, then take the heel towards the hip, keeping the hips square, and extend it all the way to the flex foot. Sweep it down, lengthen, point the toe, bring it in, extend and flex. Keep going. This is my wobbly side. One side is really stable and one side's really sketchy. We have one more of these. And at the top, we're going to flex the foot, hold, pulse the toes towards the ceiling for 5. Keep the hips steady. 4, 3, 2, 1, done. Lower that foot down, shake your other foot out. Maybe it was shaky because I did both exercises without giving it a rest. Who knows? Okay, we're going to work on our curl down, our roll down through the spine now. So feet are directly under the hips. We're going to curl the spine. So there's a real C-shape action going here before we even start, and dropping the chin onto the chest. Your hands are on your thighs, your knees are soft. Start to slide the hands down the legs. And notice the shoulders releasing forwards, but the toes stay connected to the legs and the crown tips down towards the ground. Good, once we get there, we're going to take the hands forward, look at your fingertips, stretch them all the way through, bend the knees here as the hips lower down, keep sliding or walking your hands forward. Walking the hands now, so my hips are back, I'm on the tops of my feet, all the way into a plank. Beautiful, keep those hips really level, tailbone touch, shoulders right on top of the fingertips, hold here for 4, 3, 2, 1. You're going to be able to walk your hands back one step at a time. I'm going to have to use a foot to help me, but we're coming back into that same crouch. Cool, so we're in this little crouch position. Careful that the knees aren't flaring wide. We want to keep them in line with the hips and the chest. Dropping the heels down, turning the crown of the head to face the ground. Now we're going to start to slowly slide up. The fingertips will come back onto the shins. Tailbone will tuck under as the ribs pull in. We're stacking one vertebrae at a time. At the top, roll the shoulders back. The hands will come down behind your hips and then lengthen all the way up towards the ceiling. Good, continue that circle all the way back and around. 2 more, up, back and around. Breathe in. And out. Once the hands come down to the backs of the hips, we're going to roll them forward, curl the spine in. Chin tucks towards the chest. We start to slide down towards the ground. Let those fingers come all the way out as the hips drop down. The heels will lift naturally. You're traveling in line with the shoulders all the way out into your plank. Hold it here. Really fight to squeeze your bottom. Draw the belly in. Lengthen the back of the neck. And then you can start to walk your hands back until we find that little crouch. Tuck the chin to the chest. Lengthen the tailbone upwards. Keep the C curl in the spine as the hands find the shins. Rolling all the way back up to stand. And once we hit the top, the shoulders roll back, squeeze in, slide down. The hands come to the back of the hips, and they circle all the way up as we breathe in, and back and down as we breathe out. 2 more. Great, we're going to start that process one last time. Hands on the backs of the legs, they slide to the front as we curl. And roll down. Bringing it out into your plank position at whatever rate feels appropriate for your body this morning. And we're just here for another 2 breaths. And this time we're going to shift it back into a downward facing dog. You can have the knees really bent here and push through the balls of the feet. It's going to help you to push through your arms and lengthen the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Draw the front ribs into the back body and make sure that you can feel your upper arms brushing against your ears. So we're really actively pushing. Start to take a little walk through the legs. Pedaling out your heels, noticing how they feel. Keep breathing. And then if we come up really high onto the tiptoes, and again, really push through the hands, scoop the belly in, can the outer edge of the heel start to melt down towards the ground? Just go to where you're comfortable here. You don't have to lock the legs out. I want you to feel the inner thighs spiral to the back wall and then hug the belly into the back a little bit more. Take another breath in and out. Look to the hands, come forward into your high plank. Lower the knees to the ground. Roll the shoulders back, lift the chest, breathe in. Good, scoop the tailbone under, look back through the knees, breathe out. Lengthen the chest, down, forward, then up, inhale. And then scoop the belly and roll back, exhale. Take 2 more of these. Now hold the curl. I want you to see for an inhale how much space you can create in the backs of the ribs. And then exhale it over to one side. Drop it down so the chest comes in between the arms. Breathe in. And then take it over to the other side. Breathe out. Inhale, inflate the back body. And exhale, we're going to reverse it over to the side. We're going to line the chest up between the arms as we breathe in. And over to the other side as we breathe out. All the way up to the center. Inhale. And we're going to relax the chest down through the shoulders as we exhale. Now, pull the arms back and the heart forward. Breathe in. Rest back in child's pose. Breathe out. Extending the arms forward. If you can rest the forehead down on the mat, great. If you can't and you need to support it with a block, do that. So these tiny spaces between the backs of our ribs need our attention. So just focus the next couple of breaths on creating space there. These little spaces in the backs of the ribs, filling them up. And these spaces are our intercostal muscles and they get very tight. Also in this section of the back, the muscles around the spine, our multifidus, our rectus spinae, they get really tight as well. Lots of sitting, lots of facing straight ahead. We're about to break that pattern. Coming back up onto your all fours. And we're going to bend the elbow as we breathe in, take the arm all the way up towards the ceiling. Great, we're going to take the hand towards the shoulder, breathe out and rotate all the way under. We're not taking the shoulder towards the floor. This arm stays straight. We're looking all the way through. Good, elbow bends, lift up, follow it with your gaze, arm all the way to the ceiling. Hand bends, comes in line with the nipples, traces across the nipples and all the way out till the arm is long and straight. Good, how far can you reach in both directions? Try not to let this echo into the hips. We want to move through the waist. Up, 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 up. And then hand across the chest through. Rotating, try and fight to keep those hips square. And the last one. Take it all the way through. Bring it all the way up. And then we're going to bring the hand towards the shoulder and press it down with intention into the ground. So the hand is directly under the shoulder, the knees are under the hips, the arm extends all the way up. And then the elbow bends, the hand is in line with the nipples as we exhale and rotate through. Coming back all the way to the top of that as you breathe in. Really fighting to push the heart open and then coming through. You might feel the backs of the shoulders rounding, and that's what we're looking for here. Continue with this movement, following your breath, seeing how much you can open as you breathe in. And slowly rotate, close and contract as you breathe out. We've got one more full round. All the way under. All the way up. And then bend the elbow to the shoulder and press the hand down onto the floor. Come back to sit on your knees. Give your shoulders a couple of rolls. It's a lot for one hand to be doing that for some time. You can give those a little wrist roll. I'm going to come into some lunging now. All right. So we're up on our knees here. We're going to step the right foot forward. And just with our hands on our hips, keeping the pubic bone drawing up towards the ribs, we're going to take the weight forward. Now make sure this knee stays behind your ankle. And then we're going to sweep the belly in to come back. So this hip is stacked over the back knee. If this is uncomfortable for you, you can place a cushion under your knee or roll your mat in. So we're going to come forward. And then all the way back up. 2 more. And up. Last one. And up. Now from up, we're going to turn the toes towards the nose, roll the shoulders back, sweep the belly in. We're going to inhale to flatten the back. Don't go too far that the shoulders round forward. Keep them back. Find that sense of length all the way through the neck. And we exhale to straighten. Now that might seem counterintuitive. To inhale, lengthen. And exhale, straighten. But the effort here is actually on the way back up. It's not on the way back down. So I'm going to exhale with the effort. Last 2. Last one. All right, bring your hands forward until we can have a long, straight spine. Great. Just be mindful that this hip doesn't drop back towards the heel. We want this back hip, it's my left hip, stacked right on top of the knee and spiraling forward towards the right toes. We're going to turn the right toes out towards the side and you'll feel the right hip wrap under. And if the hips move gently to the left, it's okay. We're then going to turn them all the way over to the left and you'll feel your right butt cheek rise, and that's fine. So I'm going to spiral it out, twist it under, spiral it in, lift it up. And do that 3 more times. This is flossing. We might have already flossed our teeth today. Now we're flossing our hamstrings. Cool. And then working on point and flex. So I want you to feel the front of the thigh really actively pulling up towards the hip. So the back of the knee should start to feel as though it's yawning open. Keep that sense of strong thigh and yawning back of knee pit and point the toe through the ankle until hopefully that toe touches the floor. Good. Now the first thing from here that's going to happen is your toes are going to curl towards your nose. I'm going to scoop the foot back towards your face. Then we're going to round the toes under, lengthen all the way down till they touch the ground, scoop them up back towards your face. Do that 2 more times, rounding the toes down until we get that point touchdown, and then scoop the feet back. 1 more. Great. From here, we're going to bend into that front knee again. Bring the hands to the inside of the knee so your shoulders are stacked and the spine is straight. We don't want to be curling through that upper back. Push the knee gently into the arm. Tuck the back toes under, send the heel away. We're going to roll our weight forward and then press it back. Bring the weight forward and press it back. We're not going higher or lower, it's just a forwards and backwards movement. 2 more. Last one. Push all the way back, bring the knee to the ground. Keep your foot flexed here. Really important that the foot is flexed. Kick your heel towards your bum. 1, tap the toe. 2, keep pushing through the hands, keep clawing the shoulders back. 3, 4, 5. All right, keep that heel up next to your butt. If you need to, shift the knee further back. You can use the same hand as the leg to reach back and take a hold of your ankle on the outside and pull it towards your butt. It's really difficult to get into the hip flexors if we don't first open the quadriceps. So you want to do that here. If you can't reach your foot, this is where a strap gets very handy. I always like to use a strap around the ball of the foot because it lets you keep a lot of activity and tension in the leg. Cool, so my hand is here. Be really mindful of the positioning of this shoulder. We want it to slide back, but we want both shoulders even. We're not twisting to the side unless it's absolutely necessary. We're working to bring ourselves into really parallel, strong, neutral alignment. 3. So now we've been here for a little minute. We should be able to move it a little bit further. We're going to do that by breathing in, pushing the foot into the hand as hard as we can for 3, 2, 1, relax. And then maybe that heel will come in even closer to your bottom and your hip will shift further forward. Let's try that one last time. Pushing the foot into the hand for 3, 2, 1, letting the heel relax towards the bottom and then actively pulling it in. Great, you can release that foot now. Maybe even shift that back knee a little further back if that feels good to you. We'll lift the toe of the big foot, turn it of the big foot, the front foot, turn it out 45 degrees and return it into the ground. Nice. Now, if you're feeling really stable on your outside hand, I'm going to give myself the opportunity to also feel stable on the outside hand. Your inside hand can shift and press the knee open. As we're doing this, be really mindful that we're not dropping the left hip down and pulling the right hip back. That's going to create torsion in your sacrum, in your SI joint, sorry. So we want to keep the left hip lifted, the belly lifted into the back, and the hips will actually gently lengthen back as you press the knee open to the side. Try not to let the big toe lift off the floor. Great, I'm going to bring the hand back down onto the ground. Tuck the back toe underneath you, lift the leg. Now I'm going to come onto the fingertips as we inhale, and both hips have to equally press down towards the floor as we exhale. It's not just one hip, not just the left hip, it's both hips press down. Cool, so you can inhale, rise up, and exhale, push down. 2 more times. 1 more time. Now stay where you are in the hips, pull the belly in, see if you can come down onto one or even both forearms. You can keep releasing the knee out of the side, but keep the big toe grounded. Keep breathing, try to resist the urge to round into the back here. We'll do that later. 3, 2, 1. Now you can let the back knee come down, and I want you to notice the top of the back foot. I want you today to push the top of that ankle through the floor. So rather than letting the toes touch the ground, you're going to really point the foot and push the back ankle through the floor. Squeeze your back butt cheek. You want to pivot on your left elbow, extend the right arm out as far as you can, and press the right hand onto the ground. So we're taking a big twist over to the left. Your left elbow is pointing probably almost to 90 degrees to the left. Your right hand is just taking it as far as you can. And then it's this counter action. The right hand and the right hip are pulling away from each other to the side. And that's a lot for our body. So come back to the center. We're now going to spin the left foot back towards the wall. Oh, sorry, over to the right. So the left foot's going to spin back to the right. We're going to come to the inside edge of the right foot and place the left hand directly underneath the shoulder. Good. Take that right arm all the way up and over your ear. Enjoy this long stretch. Try and find a straight line all the way through the side body to the right fingertips. As you exhale, scoop the arm forward. Inhale it all the way back and around. Exhale, scoop forward, find a long neck. Inhale it up and around. We're going to take one more in this direction. And then start to reverse. Exploring the space that we can travel through the shoulder. Beautiful. Come all the way back up. Take this hand now onto the top of the thigh. Cool. Now your left arm is going to slowly rise up by your ear. And we're stacked with the belly strong. So the left arm is up by your ear, it's long and straight. Great, you can have it fully extended today. Belly is in, sides of the waist along. Take a breath in, tip it over towards the right foot as you breathe out. Come back to the center. Can we go a little further as we exhale? Back to the center, traveling in the one plane of motion. You guys look amazing. Can we go a little bit further? We're going to do one more and then stay. All the way over. Look up. Shoulders back. One more breath in and out. Breath out. Inhale all the way up to rise. We're going to turn it back towards the right foot. Bring the hands to the mat and just shift your right foot back. Or sitting back onto your feet. And just roll the shoulders. Feel into that left hip. It's been extended for a really long period. So now it's back in its nice folded position and it should feel a little better in just a second. We're going to go through all that sequence again on the other side now. So we're rising up onto the knees. I'm going to move this out of the way. The left foot is coming forward. The first thing we did was come into the lunge. Oh, it's a long time ago, right? So the hands are on the hips. We're sweeping the belly in. So the tailbone is curling under. We're not dumping the pelvis forward. We're really engaging it. We come all the way back, extending the leg. Careful not to lock the knee joint. And then pressing our weight forward. We've got 5 of these. There's 1 done. Two more. Once we come back up, flex the foot. Point the toes towards the nose. We're going to fold forward without letting the shoulders release. So we keep broad through the collarbones, rising. We inhale on the way down, keeping the hips really square. When we exhale, hollow belly as we come up. I want you to feel your pelvic floor lifting here, and you're squeezing the belt around your hips. You got 2 more. Last one. And we can bring our hands onto the floor. Let's floss. So we're going to start with the toe turning out to the side with the foot really flexed. And then we're going to turn it in and the hip will lift. Wrap the hip under as you turn the toe out. And the hip can lift up as you turn the toe in. I dream one day of having such clean flossed hamstrings that I can get my toe to the floor on each side. Today is not that day. Tomorrow doesn't look good, but one day. Hang on, there we got the big toe there finally. No chance for the little toe. It's too tucked in. All right, coming back up to that flex. So we're going to feel the back of the knee yawn open, making sure this back hip is right on top of the knee. And this thigh is really active and strong, pulling back towards the hip. We're going to take the ball of the foot down towards the floor and really point the toe. We can touch the toe down here and then scoop the toes back, flex the foot. Curl the toes down, point. Scoop the toes up, flex. Curl and point. Scoop and flex. Curl and point, really lengthen as far through the front of the ankles as you can. Scoop and flex. Last one. And from the scoop and flex, we're going to bend into the knee and take the hands all the way forward into the lunge. And shift back a little bit further so you can see me. So we're pushing the knee into the arms. So we're going to tuck the back toe under. Just find a place and a way that your back knee can be comfortable. The back foot is flexed. We're going to kick our own bottom without anything else moving. So we kick up 1, 2, 3, 4. That was Tom having a big stretch and yawn. 5. Hold it at the top. And if we can, this hand is going to come back to the outside of the ankle. Keeping the chest open, keeping the shoulders square. Good, pulling the ribs in. And if you need to, find the strap here. And I'm not letting this knee release to the side just yet. I'm trying to keep my hips and everything in a neutral and parallel alignment. All right, we're going to push that foot into the hand for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let it relax. Then actively pull it in towards the bum. Let's do that again. Push the foot into the hand for 3, 2, 1. Let it relax, pull it in. Nice. Try and really relax into the pelvis here as well as the quads, just to release any tension that your quads are holding. And then slowly release that, the foot comes down. We're going to bring the hands back onto the ground. Lift the big toe of your left foot up, turn it out to the side and press it back down. Maybe that back knee can shift a little further away now. Cool. From here, we're going to take the left hand onto the left knee, push it open, but be really careful that your right hip isn't dropping and you're not rolling towards the little toe of the right foot. You want to keep the hips level as you press that left knee open. So both hips are the same distance from the floor. You need to keep lifting the belly into the low back to do that. 3, 2, 1. Bring the hand back onto the floor now. I'm going to lift that right knee up, really extend to the heel, moving forward and back. 2, 3. The sound of my toes on my mat. And once our weight is back, seeing if we can descend onto the elbows, keeping the spine long and straight, keeping the back knee lifted. And then the right elbow, we'll pivot on the right elbow so that it can point all the way out to the right. And then the left arm will extend, extend, extend. So we've got a big side bend happening here, where the left fingertips will come down to the floor. And you'll feel your left hip and the left hand extending in opposite directions. Really opposing force here. Just be really careful that that right hip doesn't drop down. Keeping it lifted, keeping the belly strong. Keep breathing. And coming back to the center. You can let the back knee drop down, untuck the toes. And I want you to focus now on the heel coming down through the top of the foot, pressing down through the floor with the toes pointed and both of the hips coming down. Come up onto the fingertips again for this bit. So you'll feel your chest rise as you breathe in and the hips press down as you breathe out. Yeah. And then come back down onto the elbows. Maybe you find you're a little bit deeper. My left butt cheek is screaming, so I can imagine yours is probably telling you some stories as well. Coming back onto the hands at last, we're going to pick up that right foot, spin it over to the left, and follow with our hand all the way over. I'm going to turn around so that I'm not facing away from you, because that feels rude. The left foot is fully extended. The right hand is under the shoulder. I keep my left foot flexed here and tailbone tucking under, left arm all the way under the ear. Now be careful we don't collapse into that right shoulder. We want to actively press earth away. Find that long stretch and then start to circle forward. So try to keep the body nice and still. Just circle through the shoulder, but really explore the space. And then go the other way, exploring that circle in the opposite direction. Good, placing the left hand on your thigh now, coming all the way up. And the right arm comes up beside your ear. So tuck the tailbone under, lift the belly up behind the ribs, get a little taller if you can, breathe in, and then slide the left hand down the leg, tipping to the side as we breathe out. All the way back up, inhale. So we got 4 of these and a hold. Tipping with the exhale, lifting with the inhale. Great. Now try to keep the arm on the back of the ear rather than on the front of the cheekbone, if that's possible for you. And this one, we're going to stay there. Cool. Really open the chest, lift the gaze. Tip a little further. And come all the way up. You get to spin back all the way to face your left foot and then sit on your feet. I'm going to come back this way, rolling the shoulders. I'm just going to do a quick time check. I feel like we might be almost out. Yeah, we are. Good. So coming into our hips now, we're going to take the right foot across to the left side of the mat. I mean, we've already been in the hips, but we're going to get more into the glutes. And the right knee will travel out to the right side of the mat. And we want to make sure that both hips are the same distance from the floor. So we don't want to be sitting on the right hip with the left hip pointing off to the side. We want to make sure that the right toes are curling back towards the knee and both hips are the same distance from the ground here. I like to start this one with my fingertips back behind my hips. Really open the chest. Carefully, you don't try and squeeze your shoulder blades into the middle of the back. That actually takes away from the amount of space you have to travel backwards. Feel the shoulder blades travel down towards your hips. So we're creating space in the fronts of the ribs, but really using all those little muscles in the backs of the ribs to pull us back. You can walk your hands back even further. Nice. Now from here, sinking into the hips to slowly bring the body weight forward. So it starts from the pelvis. And we lengthen all the way through until we're almost in a flat back. Bring the arms forward, onto the fingertips, lift the chest, breathe in. Bend the elbows, keeping the spine straight as we lower down, breathing out. Take the hands further forward, lengthen, inhale. And see if you can bend the elbows again, keeping the spine straight as we exhale and lower in. We are going to do that one more time. Hands slide forward, chest lifted, inhale. Bending the elbows, coming down as deep as you like as you exhale. We're going to stay here for a hot minute. You can use your forearms or your hands as a pillow if that's comfortable to you. I actually really like to keep my spine extended, to keep my shoulders extended, and to feel the space I can create through not only my vertebrae, but the sides of the ribs, the backs of the ribs. I'm tucking the chin in so that I can also notice the space through the back of my neck. Bringing the hands back under the shoulders. We want to create space through the collarbone. So don't jam into the upper back and neck here. Really feel the backs of the shoulders and the collarbones get as wide as they can before you start to roll up. Really honoring the space that we're working to create. Sitting over onto the right hip. The left hip is going to spiral around until it crosses over the right knee. Make sure both of your sit bones plant into the floor, then float the arms up and spiral over to the left. You can use the right hand to draw the hip a little further. Lean back a little if you can. Really feeling the space through the collarbones. Good work, guys. All right, now you guys look like you have pretty mobile hips. So we're going to go directly from here into our full shoelace pose. And if I see you struggling, because I can see you really clearly today, I'll give you a modification. So from where we are, that right foot is going to shift a little further away from my bottom. And my left foot is going to come up next to my right hip onto the top of the foot. I need to lift my bum up so that I can stack into my knees and then sit my hips back between my heels. Great, so we're trying to bring our weight forward to squeeze into the knees so that they stack. Cool, so the bum comes off the floor first and then we sit back. I mean, I think it'll work. As long as both sit bones are on the floor and we've got those legs nice and pretzeled, we're good. So for this part, if you have a strap handy, great. If you don't panic too much. I'm going to use my sleeve today. This is why I wore long sleeves. We're going to do a little bit of a stretch. So my left leg is the one that's on top. I'm going to do a diagonal sling stretch today. So my right arm is going to be the one that's on top. Last week we did that a little bit differently. The right hand is going to reach back between my shoulder blades. My left hand is going to reach back and bend and reach up towards my right fingertips. Sometimes you can't reach, and so having a strap or a sock, usually a sock is all you need to be able to get there. but I'm going to use my sleeve. Cool. So we've got something to draw on. Now, often when we're trying to reach here, the head drops forward and there's a lot of pressure and it's very curly and crunchy and uncool. Remember that our focus today is creating space. So try and lengthen the elbows away from each other. Try to draw the ribs in, try and create space for the back of the neck as you breathe in, and then pull with the hands as you breathe out. Keep breathing here. Good. Now can you walk the hands a little bit closer together, keeping a long straight spine and keeping a long straight neck. Beautiful. Be where you're comfortable. I'd say only a 6 out of 10 effort on the arms here. And then we're slowly going to fold from the hips down towards the ground. Careful that the head doesn't bow forward first. We want to fold from the hips, then one vertebrae at a time, slowly relaxing down. Try not to give weight to the head through the arms. It's my belly. Keep the shoulders back. Keep the space through the chest. Then we're slowly going to roll back into the bottom, pulling the belly in to stack the vertebrae through the low back, the mid back, the ribs, the shoulders, the neck. Releasing the hands, bring them down by the sides. We're just going to bring the feet forward for a bit of a rebound. I'm going to rewrap this. Just let your knees spiral from side to side. You can use your hands behind you to take your weight. It feels a lot better. Great work. All right, let's finish this. We're going to come into this hip sequence on the other side. And then your bodies should feel amazing for you to finish off the rest of your day. So the left foot is going to aim across to the right edge of the mat. Now I'm looking for 90 degrees. So for my shin to be parallel to the front of the mat. I've never found it yet, but I'm looking all the same. Okay, so I want this foot flexed. I'm nowhere near it. I'm at 45 degrees at best. The right leg is going to seek back as far as it can. I keep my toes tucked to keep really level through my hips as I start to look for that back bend. So the hands are back, the shoulders slide down, I lift my chest. Really important to do this one on both sides because we're creating length and strength. It's a stability work as well. Taking one more breath here. And then pulling the belly in to bring our body weight forward over the hips. Extending the arms forward long and straight, taking a breath in through our straight back and breathing out, bending the elbows. And from the new depth that we've come to, again, we extend the arms, inhale, keeping the spine straight as we bend the elbows, exhale. And you don't have to extend them a lot, like just feel that you are continuing with that process of extending and then deepening. And coming into whatever version of pigeon is comfortable for you. Being really mindful here that you have two different hips in your body. So it's your body, they're your hips, but they're not the same. It's like when we pluck our eyebrows, they're friends, not twins. Different balls, different sockets, and different experiences of your life. Same life, just experienced differently. So it'll feel different on one side to the other, and that's perfectly normal. And then bringing the hands out back towards the chest, creating a lot of space through the shoulders and the collarbone. So really thinking broad out to the edges before we rise up. Taking the strain out of that movement. Rolling onto the left hip, wrapping the right foot across the knee. Planting the hips down, the hands come up, rotate across. And then coming back to the center, we're going to bring this foot a little further away from our butt. We're going to take this foot as far over as we can to start with, but the real work happens when the hands come forward and the bum lifts up. So we can stack into those knees and sit our bottom back. So now we've got the right leg on top. We try and create the same amount of space between the heels and the hips. And this time your left arm is going to rise up. Keeping the ribs in, the right arm spirals back. You'd either grab onto your fingertips or the strap. Be really careful with the bottom shoulder. It's the one that tends to roll forward. You need to squeeze it back. Nice. So we're lengthening upwards here. Trying to find a long, straight spine. We're going to pull with the hands to create more space and more length. Pulling against each other or pulling against the strap. And then relax. Maybe the hands can come a little bit closer. And we're finding that same 6 out of 10 intensity on this side with the long spine, being careful that the weight of the arms isn't dropping our head forward. And we're slowly going to bend forward from the hips, curling through the waist, curling through the ribs, peering forward, but using the tailbone to anchor us back before we find whatever the depth feels appropriate to our body. Just be really mindful of the bottom shoulder staying back. Don't let it sneak towards your ear or forwards. And slowly stacking the spine again. So we pull the belly in, load over the tailbone. Start to slowly stack the ribs above the hips. And then at the top, the shoulders stack over the hips. The chin draws in, the neck is long, and we release the arms. Shake them out. Shake those hands out. All right, team, we have made it to our roll up at the end. What you're going to notice, very different feelings in your body from at the start. So unravel those legs. And before we come up, come onto hands and knees and just give the tops of the ankles a little bit. Giving them back some blood. Tuck the toes underneath you. Start to shift your weight back towards the ankles. Make sure the knees aren't spread too wide here. We want to try and work on doing this in parallel. Drop the heels down towards the ground. Let the heels really seal into the floor. Find that balance between the balls of the feet and the heels. Then release the neck fully. Nod your head yes. Shake your head no. Press back through the left knee as the right knee bends deeper. You'll feel the left side of your waist lengthen. That was Tom yawning again. Bend into the right left knee. Press back through the right knee. You'll feel the right side of the waist lengthen. Bending into both knees. We're going to take a little stretch through both legs. And then bend them again, letting the whole torso become floppy and loose. Slowly rolling up to stand, stacking one vertebrae at a time. At the top, the shoulders rise up, slide back and down as we lengthen through the crown. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Let me unmute you and stop the recording.